control-focused matchup like I did last time round, Druid beats pretty much 99% of control decks if you play that Jade variant. You ban Druid. I think that was a sensible ban here, and actually going to be the Paladin ban from Duncan. Maybe worried about that heal-heavy Paladin that Tingting brought last time round. Doesn't want his mage to have issues, doesn't want his warrior to potentially have issues. So that's the Paladin getting banned here. And potentially one of the strongest classes I think Tingting brought the previous week. So not a bad decision from Duncan's side either.
So now your boy's out. Hello Leroy's out. Your prediction, you've actually got a proper prediction that you can give me this game.
Yeah, I want to predict Tingting, but I just think Duncan has been so good. I think it's difficult because Duncan's turns have been solid every single time. I think I'm going to have to board the Dan hype train and go for the Duncan.
Dan and Dana is what people have been calling
Dan
us.
and Dana.
I think it can
Which
catch
one's the
on.
Dana?
I don't know. Do I want to be Dan or Dana? One is more Dan than the other.
Dumb, dumber, and dumber. You know, like.
Oh yeah, dumb and dumber. So I guess I'd
you
rather
want to be
the
Dan.
Dan.
You just want to be Dan.
Dana.
Plus, your casting name is actually just Dan Gaskin.
That's true.
So Falcone is Falcone.
That's true. Well, here we go then. The final series of the night, and we will also be finding out our final competitor at Comic-Con later on this month, the 27th of May, if you wanted to jot that one down in your diaries. Is it going to be Duncan, or is it going to be Tingting? Duncan already killed off Hello Leroy 3-0 in the loser bracket, whereas Tingting has fallen from the winners bracket from last week. Big game for both. It would actually be fantastic for either player to make the finals, to be honest. Both new Premiership players. Duncan absolutely blowing the Swiss out of the water, but then fell in the winners bracket, which came to a lot of our surprise, to be honest. But now he has a chance to redeem himself.
So here we go. I mean, it's a pretty good start actually from Tingting. He's got the Mana Worm. Unless Duncan has that coin, Fiery War. Oh my god, Duncan's face frozen. I looked at Duncan's face frozen at that point in time. He was kind of like half looking up, half looking down.
So this looks like the aggro secret mage from Tingting. The kind of tempo mage. That's what I'm judging from the counterspell anyway.
Would you Frostbelt face to prevent a Fiery War Axe on turn 2? That's the question.
With this hand, I'd be tempted.
I think that's the decision that Tingting might be thinking about. Do I just ping or do I just literally Frostbolt face?
So if it's the deck that I think it is, or at least it's a variant of the deck, we're running things like Kirin Mage, just to try and get those secrets out. I think it runs double Counterspell, maybe double Mirror Entity. I'd like to think that he has got an Ice Block in there. I've seen some variants that have run the Ice Block as well. Maybe it is just Discover Mage with a Counterspell in it. That's something that I've got to consider as well.
There's plenty of considerations to be made here, my friend. Coin. Tark Reaper will make trades a little bit more awkward to think about here. That is a Burgly Bully.
I'm thinking that perhaps this is Discover Mage with just a few tech indecisions then.
This is awkward now for Tingting. You could just deal with this taunt, but then you do lose your 3-3 or 2-2 on board. You're going to, I guess, turn this into a 3-3, leave it, and hope that he doesn't have an answer.
With Counterspell up as well, you presume there isn't really an answer aside from Fiery War Axe.
Would you just pick up Stegodon here to make your taunt? Yeah, to make your curve.
Yeah. Easy, nice, quick snap pick for Duncan. Oh,
double Burgly Bully.
So we spoke about Tingting and said how he's targeting decks. I mean, double Burgly Bully seems like a very interesting inclusion, that's for sure.
That does indeed. And what is that playing against? Spell heavy, maybe basically looking for the mage mirror matchup win?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, if you've got Archmage as well in this deck.
Yeah, if you play in the Archmage deck, it gives you a lot of win conditions.
Yeah, you've
and
got
obviously
all those coins.
The warrior is likely to have to use some form of spell to deal with the Burgly Bully, like Execute Slam. You are gonna generate. And do you actually get the coin if the counterspell breaks that spell? That's an interesting question. If counterspells a spell, do you get the coin from the Burgly Bully?
I think so, because they have cast a spell.
Yeah.
However, I will gladly be proven wrong. As I'll be honest, not entirely sure. Twitch chat, eat your heart out. The caster has admitted he was wrong. Or possibly wrong. Might not be.
You don't know yet.
No. I think you do just Do you just put the Burgly Bully down?
I mean, you're running a risk with Babbling Book, but it's a risk that could help you potentially clear the board up.
Babbling Book.
That's not a bad one. It's not a bad one because
terrible.
You can actually clear the entire board now, with pinging and using Flame Gazer. And then you also have the follow-up turn of Burgly Bully and a 1-mana drop.
Yeah, it's not awful. It's not amazing, but I guess it deals what's in front of you.
I think that's what you do. Deals with the board. Get a 1-1 on board.
Right, now Duncan really needs to pick up a few more taunts. Card draw, armor gain.
Could just play Armor Smith and Hero Power here, couldn't you?
Nothing to proceed that quest, though.
Nothing to write home about.
No, I wouldn't write home about an Armor Smith. Direhorn Hatchling, however, that's worth a note to my mum. Although my mum's not at home. She's at her home. I don't live with my mum anymore.
What? Just like was really trying to follow that line of conversation, and it just wasn't able to. Good. It's a good Ravaging Ghoul turn because it deals with the 1-1, the 1-2, and then you get a bit of armor, a bit of card draw, a bit of everything really.
A little bit of this,
a little bit of
that. Most importantly, that Burgly Bully is just still sitting on the board. Obviously, no spells being generated from it, but I mean, a 4/6 body is still pretty tasty.
Polymorph. Maybe this is just that secret deck that you were talking about. I mean, Potion of Polymorph is a really interesting inclusion that not a lot of people kind of thought about being any good, really, because it can just get insanely low value.
I mean, the advantage you have of bringing a deck that's a little bit different is that your opponent has no idea.
Yeah.
And well, this is interesting because, you know, we've given the players the archetypes.
Yeah.
What on earth?
What do you call this archetype?
What were they told this was? Because
I'd love to hear from our admin what he called this archetype.
Because this may have just been put down as Discover Mage, and then Duncan will be thinking, hold on a second, since when are there 2 Burgly Bullies?
Was given the archetype of Secret Mage.
Okay.
So this is probably the one that runs those 5/5s. Can never remember the name of them.
Yeah.
Dan can't either. He's just maybe facing me.
Damn you.
We're in this together,
I played this deck today as well. That was annoying.
You can deal with this one of these Burgly Bullies for free here and get a card draw without having to give Tingting a coin. Definitely don't want to use a spell because unfortunately a spell would just give 2 coins over to Tingting. But how valuable is 2 coins? That's the real question. Depends if there is an Archmage Antonidas in here, which I'm guessing with the Burgly Bullies there is.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the secret mage lists that I've seen being run haven't had
Is it something
Archmage.
Cryomancer? No.
You're bringing it up again.
I know, I'm sorry.
I really wish you wouldn't.
Love you, Dan.
I love you too, babe. Fireworks helps deal with the Burgly Bully, or Burgly Bully #1 at least.
You can trade in and get a next turn Burgly Bully.
Say that really fast 3 times.
Burgly Bully, Burgly Bully, Burgly Bully.
Sounds like a song.
Whenever I say it, I feel like I sound like RDU. Have you ever heard RDU say Burgly Bully?
I haven't. Now I have, because apparently you sound like it.
Burgly Bully. It's actually really, really...
Great, now we're insulting.
It's not, no, it's... I love the way he says it, that's why I was saying it. Stop it, Dan.
He stirs the pot.
I think I've already thrown you in deep into the pot, so
yeah,
I fully understand.
We're both so far in the pot right now that we're stirring it ourselves.
We're making a whirlwind in the pot.
So Firelands Portal is definitely an option here. Of course, you play the Mana Wimp first, regardless of what you're going to play here. Potion of Polymorph now.
Oh yeah, there is a counter spell still up. There is a counter spell still up. Now Duncan will be able to deal with this Burgly Bully quite nicely without having to give over any coins at this point in time.
Drake will just turn into a 1/1 though.
It will.
And that's still a nice looking board for Tingting, which he needs, to be honest, because he's slowly running out of resources here.
He's fast running out of resources. This feels like a Firelands Portal to face turn.
Yep. And you can ping as well. Not the best 5-drop in the world.
No, I've seen worse, but this is definitely on the lower end of Fire Island's portals.
So no coins generated from the Burgly Bullies. So if he is running the Archmage, then that condition, well, win condition certainly goes out the window.
We are 5 out of 7 as well. I actually think Tingting looks like he's almost running out of steam at this point in time.
Yeah, this was the issue I had with the Secret Mage deck I was playing.
I think now Tingting's just having to run the line of... That's a terrible... I mean, it gets charged, I suppose, but...
It's 2 extra damage to face.
Yeah, he's basically running the line of, I have 12 damage in hand, let me go face, and I might have to win it that way. Which actually, he's fairly close to doing. I think this could have to be a Primordial Drake turn, though. Yeah. And Sleep with the Fishes. Wow, okay, he's going to get rid of everything.
Time's running out for Tingting now. Mirror Image isn't really going to do much here. What an awkward turn this is.
You want to hold the fireballs, really, don't you?
I mean, that's your only win condition now. It's just trying to get direct damage to face. But you've already used 2 of the Firelands portals. You've got 2 fireballs. You've used both frost bolts.
Are you going to hold Mirror Image because you're hoping you've got Archmage at some point?
Might have to, yeah.
Is it Archmage or Archmage? I've always thought it was Archmage, but I kept saying Archmage for some reason.
What do I say? I think I say Archmage.
Archmage, okay.
I might be wrong, though. I mean, I say a lot of things wrong. At one point, I used to say Renault Jackson, but, you know.
I used to say Renault Jackson
that got corrected
until
swiftly.
Sottle tweeted me a picture of
a Renault
of
car.
a Renault car.
Those were the days, the glory days.
Top quality Hearthstone casting.
Well, pressure's been put on now by Duncan, and I think that's pretty much game.
I think you could be right in that prediction. Babbling Book could provide the answer.
Could it?
Yeah, Ice Block. Primordial Glyph into Ice Block.
Palace Tomb. Nope.
Cone of Cold is good,
Cone of
though.
Cold. Yeah, I mean...
I like Cone of Cold.
What, plus Mirror Image?
Yeah. I think you have to, right?
It's the only way you stay alive.
The other option is Cabala's Tome, but you just lose.
Yeah, you just downright lose. But you're just surviving now. How do you win the game?
Well, you have to Cone of Cold or you're dead, right?
Yeah.
The way you survive is maybe drawing an Ice Block and then somehow having Fireball.
If he even runs Ice Block. I mean, I've already seen a counter spell and I've seen a potion of Polymorph, so... It's how many duplicates he's running.
Okay, he's going to go for Cabala's Tome. Here we go. That's a mana bind.
It's not an Ice Block, though.
Oh, wait. Mirror Image gives him a 50-50, right? Because of the Babbling Book. So it's literally now down to a 50-50. But then I think Whirlwind, yeah.
Ravaging Ghoul just deals with that swiftly.
Yeah, this is over. Well done, Duncan. 1-0 up versus Tingting here.
Versus Tingting's Secret Mage. Well, the Mana Bind doesn't stop it, unfortunately. Just replicates it in your hand. And then we have it. The Secret Mage is really not really able to generate any steam. We might see it perform successfully later against something else, but just not working out against the Quest Warrior. And a nice, comfortable and easy way to start for Duncan.
Certainly an interesting deck.
Yeah.
I think out of anybody that has said they have brought interesting decks today, that was the most interesting that I have seen.
It was. I mean, from the list that I've seen of Secret Mage that people have actually been running in Legend on ladder, certainly wasn't running Potion of Polymorphs. It was running 2 counter spells and 2 mirror entities. No ice blocks. It wasn't running any Burgly Bullies either. Wasn't running Archmage Antonidius. Antonidius? I'm just going to call him Tony. That works.
Can we not call him Dirty Sanchez the the spell slinger? I hope you saw that. Yeah.
I know where you're going. But okay, so Tingting's 1-0 down. He's clearly gone for something a little bit creative. Is that going to punish him? Because yes, okay, you get the advantage of, oh, they might not really know my deck, but he's already lost 1 game with it.
I don't know. What does it win against? What is the win condition? What is the better matchup for this Secret Mage? I know you have Potion of Polymorph in there, maybe designed to target specifically Paladin. You know, playing Potion of Polymorph on turn 7 somehow always guarantees you're potentially good. Secret into turn 8.
I mean, in theory, it's like a tempo variant, right? It will just outpace some of the aggro decks, perhaps.
I guess it's maybe along the lines of you want to maintain tempo with Potion of Polymorph, especially if you potentially get it for free with Kirin Tormage.
Yeah, you just keep the board relatively small from your opponent's side. You keep a little bit of a board, and then you've got spells to finish things off. on the other side. Priest now for Tingting.
This is interesting.
Murloc Paladin for Duncan, and that's a really nice curve.
Yeah, this is an amazing curve here for Duncan. This could be a full Lyra Priest, by the way, because I don't believe we saw any of the Silence Priests running Shadow Word Death or Shadow Word Pain.
No.
Because you don't want Shadow Word Visions to pick up Shadow Word Death or Shadow Word Pain. You want them to pick up Inner Fire and
yep,
Divine
certainly.
Spirit.
I have seen some.
Oh, it's Dragon Priest.
Oh, saucy. Yeah, the Dragon Priest from Tingting now. Do you coin out this Elemental Power Word Shield it? Nope.
No, you do not. But you could coin out Shadow Word Pain with your Ignis Elemental and Power Word Shield the next turn. But then that makes your 4-drop of a Twilight Drake really bad because you've just spent your entire hand.
Yeah, perhaps that's something Tingting's been thinking about. It's at what point you need to like hit the panic button of I need to contest this board, really.
I don't think you need to coin Power Word Shield at this point. The War Leader next turn might give you cause to Power Word Shield.
Yeah, this has just been an easy 1-2-3 for Duncan.
I'm saying the wrong thing the entire day today, but yeah, I think the War Leader could give you cause now to Shadow Word Pain. Duncan's had a great set of draws, though.
It's awfully tempting as well to coin out the Historian, but
I think you want to make your...
You want the Drake as big as it can be, right?
Exactly, but the follow-up for Duncan is great because he's got the Outlaw Peacekeeper in hand.
Yeah, even if the Drake had a ridiculous amount of health with one attack, it's just going to be irrelevant on the board. Something that Duncan's just going to be able to swiftly ignore.
Mm-hmm.
Especially he can follow up as well with the Stampede and Kodo if he needed to. But it is an awkward turn 4 for him. You could just equip the True Silver and pass, but if Duncan's done his research, he'll know full well Tingting had put oozes in his decks. Every one of his decks last week.
Yeah.
So you may be tempted to take a swing if you are thinking that is a possibility. Duncan's going to brave it.
Doesn't get punished. That's a big Drake that comes down now, but we can see that there is answers here. Duncan doesn't even need to use the Elder Peacekeeper. He could just trade his board in with the True Silver Champion as well, and then he could generate whatever he wants to. But using the Peacekeeper does mean that he'll take a little bit less damage and he'll maintain a 1-1 on board as well.
Yeah, I kind of like Peacekeeper and Rockball Hunter.
Yeah, that seems good to me.
Keep everything alive.
Let me
and then you've got Kodo to follow up if needs be.
Mm-hmm. He might not even trade in, knowing that he's got Kodo the following turn.
Yep. I'm just not going to swing again. I guess you're not even really too worried if an ooze came down, to be honest.
No. I mean, you've got a great board right now. Tingting doesn't have anything immediately in hand that can deal with it. Obviously, you don't know that. You want to probably get as much value in before potential Dragonfire Potion comes through. But here comes the MVP of all Dragon decks. It is that Draconid Operative, or rather the Priest deck, as it is a Priest-specific card.
Oh, Consecration.
It's good. It is good. Do you trade into the 2-3 and let him know that you've got Consecration?
No is the answer, apparently.
Or the 3-3 even. That is a huge Sunkeeper Tarim turn.
But I mean, is it?
Yeah, it's pretty big, because you can then deal with the 5-6 with one blow of your True Silver. And then you suddenly have a really, really big board that is very difficult to deal with unless... It's
not changing your board too much, is it?
No.
It's more about kind of just destroying your opponents, right?
Exactly. You don't have to waste as many. I think if I was Duncan's, I would be tempted, but maybe he doesn't feel the same way.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
Instead. Just because it buffs up one of your Murlocs back up, and now you've got a scary looking board.
And Tingting doesn't look like he's got a way to deal with it. Duncan, swiftly and surely trying to position himself in a place in the finals of the ESL Premiership at MCM. Comic-Con in London. He has played excellently. Every single game that we have seen of him tonight, I don't think anybody predicted otherwise and could contest that. You're right. I mean, I did say I found it very difficult to predict that bottom half of the bracket. I kind of went for Leroy for biased reasons. Not going to backtrack on it now. Supported Leroy, but Duncan was definitely, as I was talking to Munchables, incredibly good in this lower bracket. And I mean, Tingting.
If he can't find an answer, It's going to be 2-0 with lethal on board.
There is no answers.
Well, the answer is healing up. So not quite over just yet. It's just 16 damage, but
That could be over. That could be over.
I mean, you play it, you look for lethal.
You got plenty
So
of lethal options.
+3 attack. None of
None of those
do
are
it,
lethal. None of those are lethal. +3 health is pretty good, though.
Not quite over yet for Tingting. Having just to reduce the hero power to keep himself alive. And now for Duncan, it's just a case of, well, let's put him as low as I can, and I'll just finish him off next turn.
This puts you out of range of Dragonfire Potion as well. And you don't trade in because you don't want to give them the option for Dragonfire Potion. Go face, maybe.
And with the getaway Kodo as well, it means that he's got the Sunkeeper Tarim as a follow-up. If some sort of giant taunt was played that he couldn't get through, which isn't going to be the case, but...
There is the option of the Coin
Drake
here, but I don't think it does enough. Maybe it does. Let me think. I think it does do enough. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's a lie.
No,
I lied to you. It's exact lethal if he plays the Drake, because you can trade the Mega Saw on one of your 3 attack minions into it, and then there's just 9 damage on board.
Yeah, so instead Tingting is going to search for anything. Equality is there, but he hasn't got the mana to combine it with the Consecration, unfortunately. So now that will be it.
It is finished.
Duncan goes 2-0 up. 1 win away now from those finals at Comic-Con. Would be a great comeback through the losers bracket, just as Mysterious had done previously today. And now Tingting needs to go for the reverse sweep. Is it doable?
I don't know that.
Ooh. I thought you were going to be like, yeah, it's so doable, we can get for a 3-2, but no, you don't think it's doable?
I don't think it's doable.
I think Duncan's just too strong. His deck choices are too good.
That mage list is super sort of value heavy, and I think it's got the edge over potentially a lot of what Tingting has brought to the menu. I mean, that secret mage, unless it gets off to a flying start, didn't seem like it was going to run away with things.
Well, it is a mage left for Duncan.
Yeah, it's the big control heavy kind of Discover mage.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Tingting has gone outright and said, I want to target Discover Mage again, maybe this is what he wanted.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe this is his chance. Again, I'm not sure that Secret Mage is the best way of getting through the Discover Mage, but we will find out as we go into potentially the last game of the evening, potentially the last game of Tingting's tournament.
Good start for Duncan. You always like to have Babbling Buck on 1.
Not the best for Tingting.
Yeah, nothing big in the early game. Although you have lost pretty much all of your early game for Dragon Priest, because you've lost Twilight Whelp, you've lost the Wormrest Agent. I think you've even lost Blackwing Technician.
Yep.
So you've lost all your big early game stuff for Dragon Priest. It's become a little bit more like almost like a handlock. You just wait till 4.
Well, I mean, it's you can get the Elementals, the Clerics. They're kind of your early game, really.
But you don't have any of the super value heavy Dragon early game that you used to have in the.
No, for sure. A possible option just to coin out this Ice Block for Duncan if he wants to get value from a Deep's Valet next turn. Does that mess up his mana too much? Is it a waste? You could just ping and pass. There's nothing on the board yet. You could be a little bit more patient.
Yeah, there's no point. You're in no rush at this point in time, given what you've seen. You're in no rush.
Could always Shadow Word Pain a Babbling Book.
No. That Shadow Word Pain right now is 1 health on your Twilight Drake. You just heal face and wait till next turn.
So now we see the difference between a player like Tingting and a player like Hello Leroy. Tingting just took a very deep breath, accepted that this game is going badly for him, sip of water, calm yourself down. We keep playing. We keep fighting.
Ice Block comes down now for Duncan. This will be the turn for Twilight Drake, which will give him a 4-8 or 4-7, one of the two. 4-7, I can't count. Dealt with by Fireball, obviously, if he needs to. Could Mana Worm coin Fireball.
Could Mana Worm coin Frostbolt Medivh's Valley.
Could do. Could do.
I think I like that. Are you committing too much to deal with this, Drake?
Well, both of them do the same thing for 4 mana, right? Both of them do 6 damage for 4 mana. But the thing is that maybe that 3 damage in separate forms is a bit more versatile.
Yep.
So you take the Fireball here. Now Shadow Word Pain actually gets some use for Tingting, by the way. You probably want to deal with this before it starts to spiral out of control. But what it does do is it throws that turn 5 Draconid Operative a little bit off kilter.
So is there a temptation just for the Operative now? Or is that Mana Worm too much of a threat?
You saw Duncan considering other options, right?
I wonder.
So you could just play Shadow of Pain and a naked Talon Priest if you wanted, just to keep board control.
I suppose the benefit you also have to think about is you also have the Bookworm, but I think I like just Shadow Word Painting right now.
It's too risky to wait for the Bookworm because the Mana Worm could just be 4 mana next turn.
Exactly.
4 attack next turn, sorry. So now the Medivh's Valley will get its value.
But then the Bookworm will too, so swings and roundabouts.
Yep. So Tingting, despite a poor early game, has swung it back in his favour, I'd say. Board presence is what he needs. He needs to just build a big board that can just batter down Duncan now before he gets the Alexstrasza, before he gets the Medivh.
Firelands Portal seems good, as does Molten Reflection. Firelands Portal for just the insane value. I mean, Firelands Portal after Firelands Portal after Firelands Portal, you know, it's difficult for the mage to deal with. Doesn't feel like he needs to deal with this 3-5 necessarily this quickly, and goes for the ping, which I think is setting up for a Firelands Portal next turn. Let's see what we pull from Draconid Operative here. Ooh. So I don't like the Mana Worm, but Flamestrike and Cabal Courier seem like perfectly viable options. I would almost be tempted for Cabal Courier, given that how much do you think that you're going to get from Flamestrike against this type of mage? Yeah,
Cabal Courier is definitely the pick for me. I mean, the minions that are going to come out from Duncan are the Mana Worms, are the Archaeologists. We've already seen them. Oh, we've already seen the Mana Worms at least. And by the time anything else comes out onto board now, Tingting should have quite a threatening presence to be able to deal with it efficiently.
I think Tingting is thinking about using Divine Spirit, but instead will just heal. Makes it more difficult for Duncan to use a Firelands Portal and get away with it for free. But can ping, obviously, knowing that he's got Firelands Portal for 5 mana here.
Yeah, I mean, that's just insane.
But you need to get some bad luck at some point, and Starving Buzzard is the bad luck for Duncan. Probably one of the worst drops you can get from Firelands Portal, if not stats-wise. I think the worst drop you get from Firelands Portal is that blinking bomb thing, Bomb Squad.
Yeah, Bomb Squad's pretty
But Buzzard is definitely down there.
So, it's looking better for Tingting.
Yeah, he's got Lyra. He's got Nether Spites. We're looking for value right now for Tingting. He kind of wants to outvalue this mage. I'd say another Shadow Word Pain would not go amiss in this situation.
Yeah, Berserker can certainly go out of control because of the ping from the mage. It's something that I always remember playing in like the basic decks. And sometimes it would just steamroll.
I'd almost be tempted at this point that Dragonfire Potion might have to come out. That would make the Berserker a 4-something. 4/4/2.
What is a loon's will?
I think it might be overkill for the Dragonfire Potion. I don't think I don't think you're too worried about it yet.
Not that desperate.
No. I mean, even with a ping, like, it's still not a threatening.
Sure, yeah.
Just yet.
He'd have to ping his own
Master Spell.
Doomguard, Master Spell. You don't really want Doomguard because there are so many good things you don't want to discard.
One thing that the priest lacks is direct damage. But it's Forbidden Flame that's going to be taken instead. Nice removal tool. There is a lot of value for Tingting in his hand now.
There is indeed.
When Lyra goes off, that's when this game gets interesting.
Duncan has got a lot of things in hand to deal with the board state right now too. Could obviously Primordial Glyph and Fireball, which would allow him to deal, would give whatever he gets from Primordial Glyph, and then he could also just trade in and Fireball the Drake.
This is the thing. Tingting is forcing Duncan, or at least trying to force Duncan to constantly deal with his board using his burn.
Oh, it gets 3 attack. I mean, it's been so long since I've seen that.
And that means that the burn's not going face. But Duncan is still doing very well to contest this board, to be honest. It could have gone slightly out of control for Tingting. He could have gone pretty wide.
I think we're going to start to see a Lyra turn with the Shadow Visions coming down.
Yeah, it has a possibility just to use Forbidden Flame as well at the end of it all.
Just for a ping, basically.
As long as there's 1 mana left.
It gets Mind Control. We saw how effective that has been in the past.
Powered Shield. Inner Fire. He does have the Divine Spirit already.
Could go for another Shadow Visions to get potentially more out of Lyra this turn. Looks like he's going to try and defend his Lyra.
So now you use the Forbidden Flame just to finish off, yep. There's another Divine Spirit and an Inner Fire there as well. And a Mind Blast, that's so much damage.
And it's a pretty good Lyra, you'd have to say. A lot of options for Tingting on the table right now.
It's already an Ice Block down for Duncan. Does have another in hand as well, along with an Ice Barrier.
Meteor is good here, because it gets rid of Lyra. Because you just want to get rid of Lyra, right? So...
yeah, that's a massive pickup for Duncan.
Because now he can deal with pretty much everything. Meteor, Frostbolt, whatever he feels like.
Operative not going to get any value.
Well,
Just going to be Mirror Entity here, surely.
Yeah, Operative will get value because there isn't Alex Straza in Duncan's deck.
Yeah,
but
that's
I agree.
true. I meant immediate value, but you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he could get it later.
I think Mirror Entity is the better play. You want to try and you're trying to contest board as much as possible right now. Double Dragonfire in Tingting's hand, so he's got plenty of options to deal with the board.
So, do you go face and then just play Drake? You could even Divine Spirit it as well. If you wanted to. Maybe it's slightly overkill. Oh, okay, yeah. Yep, just heal up. That's also a very good play. Keeps your Drake alive.
Forces Duncan to have an answer. There's at least the Trailblazer.
And Tingting is going to be able to pop this block. If no Ice Barrier is played as well, if it's the Mirror Entity that is played, Frostbolt will just kill off the Twilight Drake here. So now Divine Spirit in a fire means that he can just pop this straight for 16 if he likes. But
it's not a great value to pop it out, right?
No, because he's also going to be thinking that it's an Ice Barrier.
Sure. But then you got these from Lyra, right? I think you got Divine Spirit and Inner Fire from Lyra.
Although, if he is thinking it's an Ice Barrier, then maybe it's worth just putting a 16-16 on the board.
Can you avoid the 16-16 and how good that is?
Or a 20-20 if you want one.
You could even Mind Blast first to take him a little bit lower, by the way.
Yeah.
And if Duncan doesn't have Polymorph or have Spot Removal for this, the priest might have to then... The mage might then have to use Burn that he might have wanted to use face on just dealing with this ridiculously big minion.
So Tingting will know that the second secret that was played was one that was discovered. So he'll be thinking, well, would he pick another Ice Barrier? It looks like he's going to say, I'm just going to pop this now.
I think that's fine. I think get rid of the Ice Block as quickly as possible. Even if it's at 20 HP, you know that you've got lethal next turn if he doesn't deal with this. Or at least what you can see on board, regardless.
Duncan needs a Polymorph.
He does indeed, and we know he runs one. That's not even enough to deal with the 2020. And with Mind Blast, Ice Barrier doesn't even save Duncan, so he'll have to probably play both Ice Barrier and Ice Block again this turn. Not dealing with the 2020.
I wonder.
What could save you here? A Taunt would be nice. Harrison's not a Taunt.
You just probably Shadow Word Death is at this point, right?
Yeah, Tingting can just pop the block again. And there's another Shadow of Death, so that makes it even easier. You save the Mind Control for later and just as an out.
Yeah,
right,
like
in case anything happens.
Archmage or something like that.
Alex Straza, perhaps, but block number 2 popped. And Duncan's still very much in this game if he picks up a Polymorph, I feel.
Oh, yeah, totally. I completely
Or at
agree.
least from his point of view, anyway. The Mind Blast and Mind Control might swing this still in the favor of Tingting, but yeah, it's pretty much Polymorph or buff or bust now.
Remember, Duncan knows that if he plays, well, he thinks if he plays Barrier, he's not actually dead on board. Don't think you play Medivh, it's too slow, you just lose. You have to play Barrier. But that will mean Tingting with Mind Blast seals the deal.
Yes, indeed. So Tingting has started the comeback music. The montage music is being played just quietly in the background.
What is the montage music? Can you give me a rendition?
The Rocky montage music.
Oh, the Rocky montage music. I was thinking something more like...
The audio guy is looking at me like I've just killed his cat. I have killed your cat? Was he listening to my... Okay. Well, game's over. Tingting with the Mind Blast gets the lethal onto Duncan.
I don't think you put enough inflection in that sentence. Like you said, I have killed your cat. Instead of, I have killed your cat?
No, I have killed his cat.
Oh, no.
Cat's dead. So, montage music started. You've heard it already. You had no idea what I was talking about. Rocky, you've seen it. Come on.
I've seen Rocky. For some reason, I'm thinking like of Great Escape music. I don't know why.
So.
Da, 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 da.
Oh, no.
Is that the Great Escape music? Please someone nod to me if that's the Great Escape music.
That's Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Can I leave now?
Yeah.
And never come back. Tingting, 2-1. Speaking of coming back, that is 2-1. There's a chance now for Tingting to come back to it. And he's got to win with the Secret Mage. You were saying you didn't know where he was going to get that value out of it. No, we didn't. No, he didn't. He got the win with the Priest against the Mage. Shush. Damn.
I tilted you, I'm sorry.
I'm just going to disappear under the desk and you can carry on. Okay?
So anyway, we're going to move on to our next game. It's going to be Tingting now selecting his further deck. Remember, Duncan has now got to get a win with this Discover kind of value-heavy mage that he's brought. And Tingting has got both his Warrior and Mage left to go. Warrior, we're maybe expecting Taunt Warrior given the lineup that Tingting has brought. But the Mage, not sure where it's going to find its win. I don't know if Duncan's Mage just straight up outvalues what Tingting has brought to the board here.
I'm really unsure. If he can get the start, if that Secret Mage can just pop off, then perhaps.
Problem is, I haven't seen enough of Tingting's Secret Mage deck list yet to actually know what it has in it.
I mean, if he could get something like Mana Worm into a Mirror Entity to come down as well early on and just really get that value, get that board presence, and if there's no removal
so like what you want is like Mana Worm, Arcanologist, Kirin Tor, Secret, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Coin Kirin Tor Secret would be lovely. That would be perfect.
That would be good.
Maybe that's the way. Maybe that can beat it. I mean, Tingting will know. If we certainly were complimenting him from last week, saying that he was targeting Discover Mage, and if he's done it again, which, well, it was a viable choice last week, it worked, so maybe he's doing it again, he'll know. He would have played this deck. He's not just going to bring a deck that he's not brought. He'll know what it beats. He'll know what he's trying to do with it. So I'm confident that we could see a comeback here. At least a 2-2 anyway.
Yeah, potentially. Remember, this is Duncan's vie. He's get one more win to find himself in the finals at the MCM Comic-Con event.
There's that polymorph that Duncan so desperately needed, but it's going to be the Warrior for Tingting.
Oh, it's actually going to be Pirate Warrior as well.
It is, and that's probably a better way to deal with the Discover Mage, to be honest.
I would probably say so.
He's going to chuck everything away, though. Can he get that nice early start? And Zoth's first mate is certainly a perfect turn one play. And we get to see it twice. That's how good it is.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, just double patches, just attacking everything right now.
That's not my worst nightmare, the mirrored patches going on right there.
Okay, so Duncan now would have known it was Pirate Warrior.
He was told the archetypes.
Would have been told the archetypes, yeah, that's for sure. So his mulligan would have been able to be around Pirate Warrior at least.
And he does run Gluttonous Ooze in this deck, remember?
Yep. It's going to coin out Ping, or do you coin out the Arcanologist here? Definitely, yeah.
Coin out Arcanologist, yeah. You got Ping next turn. Tingting probably has the option now of Fiery War Axe, but Ice Block from Arcanologist is going to be a real pain, you'd have to think.
Yeah, I think you War Axe this down. We saw how effective Mysterious played with his Pirate Warrior earlier today, and how well he traded. Different story against Discover Mage, though. You really need to chop them down quickly before that late game comes in, because that Alexstrasza could be a game winner. A defensive Alexstrasza can just absolutely destroy a Pirate Warrior.
Absolutely. Salty Declan at the top does give him something to do on this turn. He probably wants to hold on to his Fiery War Axe charge this time round, however, because he's got Naja Corsair the following turn, wants to get some value out of that. But this and then Hero Power, not the best turn 3. Would have maybe preferred Blood Cell Corsair to come off the top, but at least he has something to play this time round and still forces some sort of answer from Duncan.
Yeah, importantly, no cultist, no upgrade. Nothing to get those weapons just crazy out of control. But now we start to see Duncan worm his way back onto the board, quite literally.
I like it. So would you save your Naja Corsair here and just play Corcoran Elite at this point in time, given that you could get a 6-5, oh sorry, 6-2 Arcanite Reaper, which it seems to be the case, because you just lose one attack value by trading in a 4-1 into this Mana Worm, and I think you have to respect the Mana Worm, right? So
I don't know, with both Arcanite Reapers in hand, I can't see him playing an Arcanite Reaper and not swinging with it. You don't want to give up any time.
No,
I
you
feel
don't.
as the Pirate Warrior.
But yeah, you traded this Mana Worm though, which I think is perfectly fine. Arcanite Reaper next turn. A lot of damage coming from hand here for Tingting. Duncan's on a timer, which means Ice Block's going to have to be thought about at some point. But you will see him be able to deal with the whole board here with that Frostbolt and that ping. I don't think Tingting will be too fussed though. He has got that Arcanite Reaper right.
Now something of the glyph, something that can freeze the face of Tingting would be massive for Duncan. Just try and negate this damage that's coming in. Basically, Tingting just needs to win before that Alexstrasza has a chance of coming down.
Sure.
Even if the Alexstrasza does come down, there is still a chance for Tingting to get back into it with the amount of damage that's possible from hand, but you're right, Mirror Image is good here.
It's almost too good, right? No, nothing on board. Might have to consider trading his face into some of these 0-2 taunts. And actually Duncan doesn't feel like, with that Mirror Image on board, doesn't feel like he has to pop that Ice Block just yet.
Yeah, that's very much an annoyance now for Tingting.
Corcoran will deal with it, but it's not ideal to have to trade your face into a 0-2 when you have a 5 damage weapon on board, and Duncan is very quickly accelerating towards Alexstrasza, who could be a massive saving grace in this particular matchup.
And there's always this situation where you want to be able to play the double pirate to get the value from the cultist. So there could be the line of play where Tingting's thinking, can I play Corsair, not swing, it stays alive, and then I play the cultist next turn? But against Discover Mage that has so much removal, it just seems like too much of a risk. And with the second Arcanite Reaper in hand, Tingting instead is just going to play the Corcoran Elite.
I think he's thinking about it.
Do you swing because you've got that second Arcanite Reaper?
I think what you're thinking about next turn is, can I get Naja Corsair Bloodsail Cultist?
Yeah. But then if this Corcoran Elite just dies here, then you're still just putting... that taunt's taking too much damage for you.
Yeah, but at least you get a 7-1 the following turn, so you get another charge.
I wonder.
You wouldn't have had to be able to do that with Arcanite Reaper. Meteor's going to come down here. Remember, this is Naja Corsair and Bloodsail Cultist going to get completely swept up by the Flame Strike. But that is a whole turn invested in Flame Strike, which gives a basically lethal to Tingting next turn. So this is now a really tough decision for Duncan. Yeah. He's probably going to see this as a massive Flame Strike opportunity. And then he's just dead on board. Well, not dead, but he's dead from hand with Leroy Jenkins.
So instead, an Ice Block Fireball seems a little bit more of a safer play.
I think that would be the sensible play.
But even then, you're getting popped.
At this point in time, do you just have to say, if he's got damage from hand, I'm probably dead? This is such a tough turn because you want to stall for another turn for Alexstrasza, but your Ice Block's going to get popped next turn anyway. So you're not going to have enough time to get to Alexstrasza. Yeah,
Tingting's done so well to be able to put so much damage in before Alexstrasza was a possibility. I mean, I say done well, like anyone could do it if you draw right, but the fact he's been able to get there has been a good situation for him, should I say.
The big 10 for me was holding on to the Arcanite Reaper and saving on that 0-2 taunt.
Yeah. Yeah, playing for the cultist buff was certainly a good decision from Tingting.
Yeah, Duncan makes the better of the two plays, I think, given that you have to expect some damage from hand. Now that means Tingting has got to expend his Leroy to pop the block, remember?
Yes, and with a Frostbolt in hand, that does mean that Duncan might be able to survive.
But I feel like you have to pop the block this turn because of the fact that Alexstrasza is a thing, and then Duncan and Tingting's relying on some form of charge. Yeah, I mean that could next turn could be a Frostbolt to face.
So many.
You've got a Mortal Strike.
Mortal Strike, yeah, that's very true. I feel like you have to pop block this turn unless you think you can deal the damage necessary after Alexstrasza brings him back up to 15. The worst case scenario for you is you don't pop block and Alexstrasza gets him to 15 again and you still have a nice block up.
Weapon hit goes to face. We know that's happening every time.
The question is whether he pops block this time round.
I gotta move.
Can he set up where he pops Ice Block next turn, then Alexstrasza, even if it comes down, he still has lethal?
Looks like that's what he's going to be hoping for. Oh no, okay, Leroy comes in and he's going to pop him at 2.
Okay, this makes it very difficult for Duncan.
This makes it very awkward.
Because now he has to Flame Strike and he can't Ice Block. But Ice Block off the top is big.
Really big pickup for Duncan, but he still has to deal with this board. Of course, the Whelps can just go into Leroy. Does have a Frostbolt, but are you wanting to use that Frostbolt to face?
Yeah, I think what Duncan is thinking now is that that is likely going to be some form of direct damage in some way, shape, or form because Tingting has held on to it for the entire game. That Arcanite Reaper has been there for a very long time. So you're... goodness me.
Excuse you.
You're thinking that's probably Mortal Strike or something along those lines.
Yeah, you're thinking I'm definitely ice blocking this turn.
Yeah, that's a great top
You're thinking,
deck.
right, I'm ice blocking and then I'm playing Alexstrasza next time, but how can I destroy this board as much as possible so that he can't kill me from 15?
Yeah. I think what Duncan's thinking about is Ice Block, Frostbolt the 3/3, trade in the 2 1/1s into Leroy as you would do normally.
And leave a 3/4 on board.
Yeah. Maybe even... then just have to ping face, I guess.
Frustration for Tingting, but no Frostbolt's going to come out. Instead, he's going to put something on the board to contest.
Okay, well...
So it does mean now that Tingting can use his Arcanite Reaper just to kill off Elise here and pop with his minions.
Heroic Strike is big as well for the following turn after Alexstrasza.
Yep.
I like that. I like Arcanite Reaper to the 5/5.
Yeah, you've got lethal if he plays Alexstrasza.
Yeah. You'd have to Frostbolt face, which you can't because you want to play Alexstrasza. This is, I think, game for Tingting unless Duncan can pull any fake, like crazy shenanigans. I think Duncan played this the best way he could have done, by the way.
Certainly, he knows he's not dead on board, that's for certain. But Tingting has the heroic strike, and he's going to even this one up. It's going to be 2-2. It's what we wanted. We wanted a nice match to finish it off. A nice and close one. And it's going to be that secret mage from Tingting against the Discover Mage from Duncan. We said, perhaps is he targeting this Discover Mage again? Seems to be working out so far.
I think it is. That's the funny thing.
But
It seems to be.
I can't say, yes, he's targeting it, because I have no idea how this Secret Mage plays up against the Discover Mage,
I don't even know what's in the deck. That's the thing. The funny thing about it. We've looked at that Secret Mage. We've only seen a couple of cards from it, really. We really haven't seen great depths of that Mage deck. Is it something that's going to pop off in the early turns and make it difficult for Duncan, as you saw, to contest?
So let's think about it then. He's got at least one counter spell. I've seen a lot of them
Burgley
being running
Bullies as
two.
well. He's got
Burgley
Burgley
Bullies are in
Bullies.
there. We don't know if Tony is in there.
No.
He might be, but that could make a big difference. He's running one Potion of Polymorph, that's for sure. That's something that could get potential value as well, but the counter spell is something that is really going to be big. But look at that start from Duncan. From both of them, really.
Yeah, it's a great start from both of them. I think Tingting is saying, how important is Burgley Bully in this matchup? He says, not that important, not going to keep it. Good start for both sides, and it's a good lot of card draw from Tingting here.
Most importantly, Duncan gets his Mana Worm on the board first.
Yeah, no Frostbolt to follow up, and that's probably what Tingting is worried about. If there's Frostbolt in hand, then you're like, ah, damn.
Instead, we're going to see a lot of mirroring happening. As I would presume it's going to be an Arcanologist for Tingting as well. And this one's going to go down to the wire, but honestly, Kinnan, I'm not ashamed to say I don't know how to call this one.
I don't, honestly.
If I had the deck list of Tingting in front of me, I think I could make more of an assessment.
I'm in the same boat, buddy. It's difficult to assess. Duncan gearing up to potentially expect a trade with a 1-1 and a ping with a Babbling Book the following turn, or just Ice Barrier and trade. Tingting now considering too.
Yeah, so the decisions for him is coining out something and using the Mana Worm and trading into the other Mana Worm for the value. So you could either coin out the Intellect, maybe even the Acolyte if you wanted to.
I would be half tempted to coin out the Acolyte, knowing that I get the trade with the Mana Worm. You don't necessarily have anything that will completely wipe out that Acolyte for 3 unless you're expecting a Frostbolt, and you probably, unless he top decks it, would have seen the Frostbolt already, because on the Mana Worm, too strong, turn 2. So he's considering whether just to Arcanologist, considering maybe to coin Arcane Intellect, or just coin out the Acolyte of Pain. And I think both of them achieve almost the same end. He's just going to go for the Arcane Intellect. And that actually, with the Arcane Intellect, now makes it forces Duncan to ping. Otherwise, he just loses a massive trade on board.
Mana Worm does pair up well with the ping, though. And it becomes awkward for Tingting. This is a deck that I was saying it needs to just get the value early on. It's maybe tempo orientated. He's losing to the Discover Mage, which isn't, in theory, isn't as much of a tempo deck.
And I think Tingting was now saying, I should have used Acolyte the previous turn. I achieved the same ends. I was hoping to get the greedy value trade on the Arcanologist.
That's another ice block off Babbling Book as well.
It is indeed.
3 ice blocks that potentially Tingting has to get through.
It's massive.
And more importantly, that's something that Tingting has no idea what it is.
Exactly.
So that's going to make his next turn very difficult. Is it a mirror entity? Do I want to be playing Water Elemental into it?
Absolutely. Water Elemental seems like the obvious turn, but he has the opportunity to play double Arcanologist. He could also use a Fireball.
An incredible discovery.
Looks like it could be double Arcanologist here. There's the Potion of Polymorph. He's going to see what he draws. Maybe hoping he draws a Frostbolt from his Acolyte. If he draws a Frostbolt from this Acolyte, I guess he's probably feeling pretty sad. Oh goodness, how many cards has he got in hand? If that's a ping and attack, he could. I think Duncan could force an overdraw here. Is that something that Tingting is super bothered about?
Probably not. Is it a waste if Duncan just goes for the overdraw here?
Yeah, maybe.
There are 8 cards in hand, so he definitely could do it if he likes.
Does he even know what important cards he'd want to burn?
Probably not. I mean, the most important card that probably for this matchup is that Archmage.
Yeah.
And we can see it
in hand already. I think this is still a close affair between these two.
What's going to be important is whether there's an ice block in this deck for Tingting.
Yeah, and we haven't seen one yet. Duncan playing the burn game. He's got Alexstrasza, he's got Pyroblast, he's got Fireball.
And he has the board.
Exactly.
Or at least he's had the early board.
This could be a secret ping turn for Tingting because it clears up the board. But what do you play as your secret? Do you play Potion of Polymorph or do you play Counterspell?
For turn 6 of a Discover Mage, I think you might be saving that that Potion of Polymorph for potentially an Alexstrasza a turn. Yeah, that playing it on turn 8 for their turn 9. The Counterspell would certainly get value later on.
I like the line that Duncan has played here. Basically said, I don't know if you're running ice blocks. I don't care. I'm going to go face. I've got the burn in hand. Can win this outright without having to take this to the floor because I've already got the ice block.
And I mean, Duncan was given the archetypes, so he probably would have just had a little quick Googled Secret Mage and said, what really are they running? If he didn't know already, you could certainly get a good idea of it from certain websites.
Duncan can play a little bit slower here. Arcane Intellect as well. 2 secrets on board. It is a Potion of Polymorph in hand, which could be very good for the Medivh turn.
Yeah, it gets rid of the 7/7, but it doesn't get rid of the weapon, which is the worrying thing. Yatish is can be so damaging in this Discover Mage. Tingting needs to build a board, but I mean, really, he's struggling to do so. And he's still worried about this secret. He doesn't know it's an ice block.
I think he might have ascertained that it's an ice block, but he hasn't, because he's played spells now, right?
Yeah.
And he knows that he's seen the ice block in Duncan's deck already.
But it was the one that came from Bubbling Book.
I think Tingting now committing to potentially forcing Duncan into playing Volcanic Potion, but that's actually not bad for Duncan unless he wants to Medivh Valet the face. That's a nice block. That's a nice block.
The glyph. That could be really big. And if the Sorcerer's Apprentice isn't dealt with this turn, then Tingting potentially next turn has a lot of value from this Archmage.
So Potion of the Polymorph is probably going to get procced by Medivh's Valet.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
Doesn't stop the battle cry either.
Nope.
This jungle hides many secrets.
And of course, Duncan already saw the Potion of Polymorph in the previous game, so it's something that he could be comfortably playing around. Tingting could have got some real value if they had had this matchup earlier on when the Potion of Polymorph wasn't expected, but...
I think Tingting was hoping he could maybe Dirty Sanchez the Spellslinger into Ice Block, which is Tony. And He's going to Frostbolt here. Burgly Bully comes down. You'd imagine Duncan, with the cards in hand, probably feels pretty comfortable slamming Medivh this time round.
So we still have a counterspell in play for Tingting, am I right?
Yeah, we do.
Yep. Yeah, Medivh just gets instantly lobbed onto the board. Now he could get some value from Tony if he wanted to, but...
This could be Tony Mirror Entity play or Tony Ice Block play, couldn't it? Sorry, mirror Image.
You require my assistance?
Yeah, the Mirror Image seems like the better play. Because realistically, he's saying, well, I've got a counterspell. How do you deal with a 5/7 and 2/0/2 taunts that you've got to get through?
Absolutely.
Duncan saying, oh, well, I've got a Meteor. That deals with it nicely. Well, it doesn't. That gives you another coin. Depends how Duncan plays this. If he's clever, he could just play something first. If he plays the Volcanic Potion first, then plays the Meteor, then that's one way to do it.
It doesn't actually matter which way he does it, but one way will save his Medivh. This is the way that saves his Medivh. So just 2 coins, but he's not going to be able to get any value from the Archmage because, well, it's dead. It's not a great 6-drop, though, coming through for Duncan here. Duncan has, or Tingting now has the opportunity to Meteor himself with a ping, which would deal with this Medivh.
I'm just wondering how he wins this game, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I don't see many ways. Duncan's got Burst. We'll block an Ice Block.
Because Duncan's just kept the board pressure up. He's just contested the board so successfully throughout the game. Tingting's not been able to really put any of the spell damage that he has into the face of Duncan. He's not been able to race him at all. Now Duncan's got the Alexstrasza, he has Pyroblast, he has Fireball. He even has another Ice Block as well, so he's got all the tools. He can take this slow.
Is that a Mana Bind that you just picked up there?
Yeah, there is a Mana Bind.
Could coin Mana Bind Arcane Missiles.
But I mean, what's the Mana Bind going to really do for you?
Well, you'd get something from him. You could get an Ice Block, you could get Primordial Glyph, you could get Pyroblast, you could get Fire. I mean, all the spells in Duncan's hand, he's probably pretty happy to take for free.
No, I don't feel like any of them are really going to help him win the game.
Maybe not.
Because the Ice Block's not going to be played because he's already got an Ice Block in play. The Glyph maybe could help, but I feel like this play for Duncan now is you just Alexstrasza.
Yeah. Gonna Primordial Glyph.
Well, there we go. Tingting will get that from the Mana Bind.
I think Duncan played around that fairly nicely, though. It was probably the best option he could have given him. Oh, that's Norfolk coming through again.
Another one he could give him. Ice Barrier.
It's probably the best option, isn't it? None of those other ones seem that good.
Ice Barrier seems like a safe option.
Oops, I broke a diamond.
But do you really want to play it? You're wasting your Atishia. You're not really too worried about giving coins to Tingting, to be honest, at this point.
No, I mean,
because you've already killed the Archmage.
Exactly.
What to do?
What do you do here as Duncan? Do you Fireball the Burgly Bully? Going to Ungoro pack. So you have kind of lost a lot of value from the Atish, but it's generating something at least. What is the Ungoro pack going to get him is the question. All of those are terrible. Although, that's not quite true, is it?
I mean, he could have got value out of the Egg Napper.
Oh, actually, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Lots of 1-1s on board. Eventually.
No clear for Tingting.
Exactly.
I mean, he could glyph for a Flame Strike, perhaps, but then...
Volcanic Potion, I suppose, as well.
What does he have to choose? Oh.
Actually, just like counter spell again.
Ooh. At one point or another, Tingting just needs to try and win this game.
Yeah, where does he do that?
Like, he's got, what, 12 damage, 17 damage from hand.
Is that what he's going for? I don't know. That seems really interesting. Whoa! White Eyes. That's not a bad...
I mean, it's something that can stop all these minions from churning through into your face, that's for sure. Still not playing that Ice Block yet.
Do you coin out anything here if you are Tingting? No. Maybe coin out the Ice Block.
Yeah.
Has he got any beasts left for Stampede? Don't think he does. Firelands Portal will deal with that nicely, and suddenly there's a lot of 1-1s and 1-2s that can be dealing damage to face.
There's a counter spell in play though.
There is, yeah.
So maybe you just throw Stampede first, just to...
I mean, you might as well. You might as well check for the counter spell.
It's pretty much a dead card.
It is, yeah. I think it just is a dead card.
He's got some beasts on board, but it's not in the hand, is it?
I think Duncan will realise that he needs to play around counter spell at this point in time. Ooh.
So now we can successfully deal with the White Eyes.
That's actually a fairly threatening board for a Tingting who has not yet shown that he's got any way
any removal
of
whatsoever.
clearing. And all these coins aren't really doing much apart from filling his hand.
And don't really need to play Alexstrasza, to be honest, because you could just put your opponent down to 16. Duncan really played this very methodically. He's been very patient with his play, hasn't rushed in and said, oh, I've got so much damage, I can just play Alexstrasza and win.
Well, this is a primary glyph, I think, that needs to pull a Flame Strike. And doesn't look like it has. Frost Nova will buy him time, but time does nothing for Tingting at this point.
No, he just loses in a time race.
The Arcane Intellect looking for something. Maybe Arcane Intellect looking for one of your board clears, if he even runs any. Doesn't look like he does. This is not a good hand for Tingting.
I've kind of felt that way the whole game, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I
think it's been a very brave decision, and if it paid off, I think we would have all hailed his incredible choice.
Someday I'll be just like you.
And to be honest, if Duncan hadn't have got the crazy start that he did, the Mana Worms, the Arcanologist, then perhaps Tingting could have run away with this one.
I think he's just going to coin out the Water Elemental here at some point, this point. But there's double Ice Block in hand for Duncan now. He's got Alexstrasza as well for extra defense. And we don't even know what the rest of the deck constitutes here.
Yeah, Duncan's in just such a good position that he can just
Another
fireball
Ice Block.
here.
Another Ice Block. This is... I know, I thought it was an Ice Block. It's actually a Frostbolt.
I was like, where? Yeah, that's more damage as well. You can just fireball here to the face. You've got a Pyroblast to follow up if you wanted, but I guess he may be worried about Ice Block. We know it is an Ice Block, but he doesn't know that for sure. But he doesn't really need to panic, because we've not seen any clear from Tingting. He's not seen any clear from Tingting, so he's thinking, well, I'm just going to build a board that can chip away at his life total very successfully.
Spirit Singer Umbra. This is a big, big, hefty board here for Tingting. Or for Duncan. Does Tingting run Flame Strike? Nope, looks like he's got Damage in hand, but not enough to proc Ice Block. And suddenly the win conditions of Tingting, I feel, have just drained. I feel like they've been drained from the start, though. I was wondering where the win conditions of this deck actually came through from.
They came from having the tempo, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
getting the early game, having the board, and being in this position that Duncan's in. Tingting should be in this position. He should have a full board that Duncan's not been able to cope with, and then he's got spell damage to perhaps finish him off. But instead, Duncan's just been able to go out of control. The Medivh allowed him to pick up a few pesky minions as well. Of course, that Unguro pack has really come in handy to fill up his board.
Yeah,
and no removal from Tingting means that really, it's going to be Duncan who's moving on to those finals. Of course, Tingting will consider every avenue of play. Will try and do what he can. He does have an Ice Block currently in play up at the top there above his head. So he will survive another turn. But Duncan also has an Ice Block, and he has one in hand as well.
Yeah, I think this is the only thing that Tingting can do at this point in time. And hope that he somehow comes out on top. And you can see it. Tingting finally unhappy with his position. Another Ice Block for Duncan. No way in hell does Tingting survive this. I don't think there's anything he could draw. Not even Eater of Secrets randomly added into the deck would do him any justice. And Duncan can prop him to 1, so even Ping will finish the deal here. And this should be Duncan securing his finals place. Interestingly enough, both casters predicted someone from the losers bracket round 1 to make it. Myself and Lorinda predicted Mysterious. Yourself and Dan or Falcone predicted Tingting. Not Tingting, Duncan. And both of them made it.
Yep, the Firelands portal off the top is not going to be enough. Takes a while for the Nesting Rock to come out, but eventually he comes to play. Duncan is going to be moving on to the finals. He's going to be joining Ben, joining Green Sheep, and joining Mysterious at Comic-Con on the 27th of May. We have our 4 finalists. Commiserations to Tingting. He put up a good effort, came back, he was 2-0 down. I thought maybe there was a chance of a comeback, but in the end, that Secret Mage just not being able to pull out, not able to gain the tempo that perhaps he would have wanted. But just really well played from Duncan. Very patient, and there's a lot to learn from that man, to be honest.
I think so. The way he approaches the game, emotionally very stable, always thinks about every turn as well. Every time we thought, well, he's going to play around this, he must be thinking about playing around this. He was, you know, one step ahead of us already.